Most people don't think about their HOA until something goes wrong. The pool isn't clean, a letter shows up in the mail, or suddenly there's a fee you weren't expecting. And just like that, it's us versus them. But here's the truth. There is no them. Today, we're slowing things down and talking about the human side of how HOAs actually work, who does what, and why does it sometimes feel so frustrating for everyone involved. Stick around. You won't want to miss this. Welcome to Let's Talk HOA, the podcast giving you an inside look at the world of community management in Lake Norman and beyond. Presented by Main Street Management Group. We're your source for relatable stories, expert information, and a transparent look at the industry. So if you're ready to get the inside scoop, kick back, grab a coffee, and let's talk HOA. Welcome back to Let's Talk HOA, presented by Main Street Management Group. I'm your host, Kelly Hawkins, and today joining me is Community Manager Jennifer Cordell. Hey, Jennifer.
Hey, Kelly.
So how long have you been a community manager?
I have been a community manager for 8.5, 9 years now.
Which is a very long time in this industry.
Very.
I say it's like a Hollywood marriage. Either you're built for it and you're here forever, or you're in and out in 2 years.
You're a flash in the pan. That's right.
So today I want to talk about the human side of HOA management. In most HOAs, when the pool is clean or the entrance looks good, homeowners don't give us a second thought. But the moment a violation letter shows up or a late notice, assumptions start flying about we're lazy, the board's on a power trip. So let's talk about what goes on behind the scenes and the human side of it, and how maybe we can give some tips and tricks for homeowners, board members, and managers to navigate it better. So let's start off with, who is the HOA? In a nutshell, all homeowners are the HOA.
So what do you think the biggest misconception is that homeowners have about HOAs?
I think it's that they're customers and their dues pay for a service. And that's just not the case. They're not customers, they're members, and they have responsibilities, and they chose to join a club and pay dues towards shared amenities, shared expenses, and they have agreed when they bought that house to live by certain rules, and they have obligations. So they're not customers, and the management company is not customer service.
Right. And as members, I don't think they understand that they have responsibilities, right?
Yeah, they do. And they have to follow the governing documents. They have to pay their assessments on time. They have to stay informed and attend meetings.
They really need to engage constructively, right? And most important, they need to vote.
Yeah, I think that is another huge misconception, is that the board is all powerful, the management company's in charge, but the truth is the homeowners have all the power. They have to elect the board members who make all the decisions. They have to ratify or approve a budget, so that's how money is spent, and they have to vote on rules. The board cannot create rules without their consent.
That's all true, but while most boards are all trying to do their best for the community, not all boards are great, right?
No, that's true. But you know what? They're on the board. These not great board members are on the board because no one showed up at a meeting and ran against them or voted them off.
The power shifts right back to the homeowner.
Exactly. That's the role of the homeowner, right? You have responsibilities. You are not a customer of the HOA. And then, so what is the board's role? I think what's hard for some people to understand is that the board is just your neighbors who volunteered, right? And most of them, I think, get on the board with genuine desire to do what's right for the community. Either they want to do more social events, or they think they can contribute something to the financials or to the maintenance, right? I think most of them get on with good intentions.
But I also think a lot of homeowners don't understand that the board themselves work within limitations. They can't just, do what they want.
No, that's true, right? They can't make the rules. That's what you're saying. They can't make the rules. They can't pass a budget that the homeowners don't agree to. They can only spend as much money as the homeowners agree that they can have to do, right?
Right. And they have anything they do has to be following the governing documents and the state law.
Yeah.
And so to some extent, their hands are a little tied at times. And I don't think homeowners grasp that.
Yeah, because they are officers of a corporation. They have rules that they have to abide by, and they're obligated to do collections. They're obligated to enforce the rules. So,
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they have responsibilities to the association when they're elected, like strategic planning, funding reserves, right, for capital expenditures, maintaining property values. Many of them sometimes they lack the experience on things like that. So I think they shy away from running because they think they have to have all that knowledge.
yeah, because there are no qualifications for being a board member. You're the officer of a corporation, and you literally have to have zero qualifications for the job other than you raised your hand at a meeting. And I think that can be some of the problem for boards, right? They have zero knowledge of construction or pool maintenance or landscaping or accounting. And here they are trying to make these big decisions for their community.
I agree. I think sometimes boards find those ideas really overwhelming. So they tend to focus on things that they don't find overwhelming, like, parking and trash cans.
Yeah. And that's where you get the bad boards on social media, right? Because they nitpicked something and they didn't worry about the financial planning for the community for the future. The ones that like to be the mayor, right? They just want everybody to be happy and they be liked.
Yeah.
They just be liked. And they don't raise dues because everybody will be mad at them about it. But honestly, you have a fiduciary responsibility.
You're right. That's
keep
right.
that budget funded so that meets all the repair needs. And the older a community gets, the more money it needs.
With your vast knowledge and experience, what do you think are the qualities that make up a good board member?
Honestly, I think anybody can be a board member if they come to the table to listen to understand and not listen to talk, and that they are there with good intentions to be a leader and not fulfill some need to be in charge. I also think that all boards should sit down when they get elected and talk about what strengths each of them can bring to the table, because accounting and the financials and the reserves are important, but it's also important that somebody's keeping up with maintenance, someone's keeping up with violations. So if your strength isn't accounting, but you like landscaping, then you keep up with the maintenance. Like, everybody should bring their strength to the table and they should delegate. I think you should have empathy and come prepared to the meetings.
That's a big one.
Right? Don't you hate that as a manager? Is like, you have worked all month and then you show up to the board meeting. They haven't read anything, any proposal you've sent them. They're going to sit at that table and try to read. Now, you're still at work. The meeting, you're willing to give them hour, 2 hours of your time after hours without your family. And you show up at that meeting and now they're going to sit down and read the proposals that you sent them 3 weeks ago.
And it frustrates other board members who have prepared, right? They didn't want to come in for a 3-hour meeting.
No, meetings should be, I've gone through everything. Let's debate and discuss and decide.
That's right.
It should not be, let's sit down for the first time all month and think about everything that needs to be done in the community.
Yeah, that definitely makes for a bad board member, right? I mean, what other things in your mind, fall in line with that? What are some bad habits board members get into?
I would say about a year ago, we fired our biggest client. And it was because that board had zero respect for the homeowners. They talked about them as if they were them, those people. Let's try to interpret the documents in the most militant way possible and then punish people. The punishers, I hate that.
Yeah, I do.
The ones that don't raise the dues, I hate that, because I don't want to raise dues either. Listen, we take all your blowback, but if it's necessary, the cost of living goes up 3%. Over COVID, it went up 8-9%. If you aren't raising the dues to meet expenses, then you're going to fall behind and everything's going to be a struggle. Like, you have to have the guts as a board member to make the hard decisions and take what comes.
And on the other side of that, I mean, you certainly don't want a board who spends all the money, right? They're not fiduciarily responsible.
Yeah. Diana and I were talking about that the other day, that, sometimes you have these boards and you have a community that has some capital expenditures coming, right? The roofs have to be replaced, the pool has to be redone, and those are so overwhelming. They don't think how are we ever going to have the money? So they're like, yeah, but we could put in new furniture at the pool. And so they spend what they have to try to appease the community that something's happening, but they're not making the big decision, right?
Right.
I have to save the money. I'm sorry, everybody, we can't do this right now because in 2 years we have to have $500,000 to replace the roofs. So,
And you're right. And when that situation occurs, it's very difficult when you have a board member who is so worried about being liked and, shaking hands, holding babies. And yet when these decisions are made that are contradicting to what the community wants, rather than stand up and say, as a board, we need to do this and stand behind their decision, sometimes they kind of throw the manager out there and throw them out like the bad guy, right?
or go out, you need to tell this homeowner this.
Yeah.
And then the homeowner comes to the board and is like, I can't believe the manager said this to me. And they're like, it's okay. We'll fix it.
Right.
Oh, that makes me insane.
Oh, I know. Me too. I mean, just back me up. I'm okay with following
being the bad guy.
Right. I'll deliver
right?
your message. I will, but at least back me up because I'm, just stating the board's decisions.
Right. Because we do answer, ultimately we answer to the boards. Like, homeowners like to call here and go, you work for me. I don't really. I get paid for a service. I work for the board and I will try to back their decision if I can. We will terminate a contract if you're trying to do that was the biggest client thing with the no respect. You're a little shady. You're doing things that aren't quite ethical. They're just, in our minds, not fair to the homeowners. We'll let you go. But that's all we can do, right? I had someone go back and forth with me the other day, like, well, you need to report the board. I'm like, to who?
That's right. I find that homeowners really don't, and sometimes even board members will come in and they really have no idea what the management company actually does. They really, the lines are skewed between what the board does, management does.
They think we send violation letters and late notices, and that's our entire job. And I would say about 90% of what we do is completely invisible, including trying to navigate a bad board to do the right thing, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we have 3 main roles. Wouldn't you say? I think provide accounting and administrative services and filling the experience gap where, they might throw out an idea that we've already done the legwork, right, for another community and realize either
that doesn't really work that well, or that seems like a good idea on paper, but let me tell you why that doesn't work.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we are the experience gap for the board members that don't have, like I said, there's no qualifications for the job. So I think that's some of it. So I was listening for somebody the other day. They asked me for a proposal and they were like, well, some of the units in our HOA was a master are townhomes, and you aren't managing the townhomes, but the townhomes were part of this master association. And they were like, why am I charging the same rate for the townhomes? Like, well, if I was just managing the townhomes, it would be double what I'm charging you. But you don't realize that I pay all the invoices. I make sure the vendors have insurance. I manage all the collections. I reconcile your bank accounts. I facilitate your investments. I provide board reports. I draft annual budgets. I get taxes filed. I send 1099s. I make compliance visits. I solicit vendor bids and I resolve issues with them. I run meetings. I keep you on task. I maintain a website. And it doesn't matter if in their mind too, I wasn't sending them enforcement letters. So therefore I wasn't, worth the same price. But there's so much that we do that no one has any idea about.
No. And honestly, our real value to the boards and the community is our years of experience dealing with, like we said, similar issues, our knowledge of the general statutes, the case law, our process and procedures, right, that we've developed over years and years, and our longstanding relationships that we have with our vendors, local government, right? I mean, that's...
Yeah, I mean, a board can go out and hire a vendor, and if it doesn't go so well, you can threaten to hire the vendor, and the vendor's like, okay, wash my hands of this job. But if we go out and hire the vendor for you, and they're not doing a good job, they understand that wash their hands of this job and every other job I could possibly give you across the hundreds of HOAs in this area that I could give you work at, So we do have some leverage for them and some power. And I would say probably the hardest part of what we do is that we're the face, right? That we're the hub for all their information. We take every phone call, email, drop-in visitor. We take the heat for all their decisions. We take the heat for two neighbors that don't get along. And all the time, we have to try to be neutral.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're supposed to listen, right, without reacting emotionally, which, at times can be mistaken too for lack of empathy.
Oh, yeah. I get that all the time. I was mean or rude, and it's just because I didn't jump right onto they came in hot and I didn't match their energy because, to be honest, sometimes when someone's calling here and they're telling me some side of a story, I don't know if that's this. I can't jump right on that. I got to go talk to the other side too, and then try to figure out how I'm going to get these two sides together.
Oh, it's not easy. And we've all had that day, right, where a homeowner or a board member, whatever, enough just becomes enough, right?
Yeah, you have to be neutral, but there's no way you could do this job and not have the day you
burnout
sort of snap.
Burnout's real in this industry completely.
Because you're taking heat from all sides all day.
We're the buffer, right, between the people and all of the heat from everybody. We are that buffer. Yeah. Day in and day out.
What's even worse, I think, we should get paid extra for this, is that when you're mad at what's going on in your neighborhood, something's not maintained, you're mad at the board decision, who gets the Google review? We do.
We do. Yeah. Well, you can't Google review your board, right?
No.
So
that's why management companies have so many 1-star reviews, because if you go back and really read it, they're mad about it. The management company couldn't make that decision.
No.
I'll try to say that back in ours, but once they're mad, it doesn't matter.
No, we take it all, though. You're right.
All right. So we talked about kind of everybody's role, right? So homeowners have responsibilities. Board members need to realize they're leaders, and everybody needs to understand what the management company does, right? So I think why social media blows up about HOAs and where all the frustration comes from is enforcement, maintenance, and collections.
Oh, 100%.
Right.
The reality of enforcement is homeowner violations, right? They're personal, because you're telling somebody something is wrong with their home or their lot. Yes. I think people take that as a real personal offense.
Yeah, and some of it's subjective, right? So you have... I might come and tell you your lawn needs to be mowed, and people will be like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, this is neat to, you don't know how people grew up. Someone could have lived in an apartment their whole life. They never had to maintain the lawn. Dad never taught them how to, you and Dad didn't mow the lawn together. There's no maintenance of the lawn. We have that one community where a lot of people are from another country where there are no lawns. And so we struggle in there. And they're like, what are you talking about? And they go home for 3 months and we're like, hey, someone's got to mow your lawn while you're gone. And they're like, I wasn't here. What's the problem? We're like, well, we were here. we live next door to your lawn.
I mean, that is so true. But don't you find too, I mean, in all fairness, I know I didn't. Most homeowners don't sit when they buy a house and read this 100-page document about all of the intricate ins and outs and do's and don'ts for a community.
No. I mean, homeowners have the responsibility to know the rules, but you're right. They don't know them. And why you're trying to move in, you're signing all these closing documents, and then someone hands you or tells you where to find this huge packet of restrictions.
You don't even get it handed anymore,
no.
Right? You probably just get an electronic copy and you're like, okay, and you
toss it aside and you go unpack and you don't know.
Nope.
Yeah. So one thing at Main Street that we do is on our web portal, we have an Ask Me button. It's an AI, so you can literally ask it can I have a shed in my backyard? And it will go and read all of your governing documents. And
That's
tell you,
amazing. I wish
right?
that was around years ago.
Oh my God, it's been the best. But even if you don't have that, Chat GPT is so prevalent now. If you're not sure what your governing documents say, throw them in there. Ask it to summarize it for you. Ask it to tell you, list all the rules for the
Or
community.
if I'm thinking of putting in a pool, I can say, what are the pool requirements for the yard? And it'll spit it all out for me.
So homeowners, you have to know the rules, but everyone has AI now, so it's easy. So let's do it.
That's exactly right. It is easy. And if you get a letter, please, please don't be that guy, right? That says that, oh, don't you have anything better to do than drive by my house and look at my, like I'm personally going there and got my binoculars, right? This week I'm getting them. I mean, that's just, I don't know.
Or the one that's like, my trash can was out, but here's a picture of all 20 trash cans that were out when I got home today and got your letter. Okay, you're right. Like you said,
Absolutely.
We did not drive into the community and go, that's the guy today.
They do. They think we singled. That's the thing. They always say, you singled me out. You singled me out. And when the case is we don't. We are there to do a job. We're there to look for things, note them. And you're right. At the end of the day, it could have been that they had a family emergency and maybe they were gone right before they were going to mow their lawn, right? And they didn't come back for a week and a half. And so, we don't know everybody's personal lives.
But they act like we should.
Oh, they do.
Right? They're so like, dude, I was in the hospital last week. Okay, I don't know who lives in each house. I don't know you. I literally am driving the community. There's a list of rules, and I'm going, okay, they're not in compliance with that or that or that. But I don't know who lives there. No. I don't know your life story. I don't know you're in the hospital. I don't know you're in vacation. I don't know.
Just here's the flip side, right? We would completely understand. Just let us know. Hey, give us a call. Talk about it. And 9 out of 10 times, we're going to say, oh, I completely understand. And, we'll talk about maybe extending some time and whatever they need to make sure that they can remedy the issue. But I mean, all we want to do is close it out too, right? We don't want open violations.
Yeah, because I'll go out there and say, hey, we hate this part of the job. Hate it so much because we send these out and all we get is blowback, and all we are trying to do is have an answer for the board when they ask us if we're doing our job and getting the community in compliance. I just need an answer. Right? Either they closed it, they're working on it, their wife's in the hospital. Like, I just need an answer. Right. Just tell me.
Right.
It
wasn't meant to be singling them out.
No.
It wasn't a personal punishment. We're not looking to punish them for, just let us know what's going on and we'll get to a resolution at some point. But
I think too, on the reverse side of that is like, hey, boards, you need to come from a place of empathy and yes. Because I definitely have had bad boards when I say the wife was in the hospital and he's like, so what? He could have gotten his son to mow it. Okay, just stop. Like, these are your neighbors.
Reasonable, right?
Exactly.
Empathy, be reasonable, because you're right. We have some boards that want to hold every home, every law under a microscope.
Yeah, to the most militant interpretation of the documents they possibly can. But like I said, you should come from a place of yes. How can I give the homeowner what they want? Like, I'm going to read the documents and go, okay, how can I give them what they want? Not how can I read these and just say no to you, just to say no.
And honestly, I get it. Documents are not written for the layman. They don't. If you tried to read them, they don't read like a nice story would. They don't explain things clearly, right? Mm-hmm. So I just feel like boards should also be open to, and budget some, expect to spend money on getting some legal interpretation sometimes and legal advice, right?
Yeah.
Don't try to make these decisions based on what you think might be your interpretation. If there's some gray area, talk to us. If we can't help sort it out, we'll
say, hey, I think you should take this to the attorney because in all my years, I don't know what to say to you here.
Exactly.
You should ask, definitely. Because like I said, you've walked into a job where you have no qualifications. So you should ask for help for sure. And then I would say too that if you're a manager and you're sending these violation letters, I know I can't tell you how much I hear all the time from when I'm doing interviewing with potential clients is that all the other management companies do is send a stock letter that says, pursuant to blah, 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 you are in violation of article blah, 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 get this done or you're going to get fined. That should not be your first contact with the homeowner. So managers, have some empathy. You're approaching them about their home. Try to figure out how you can say that in a way that is just communicating to them that this is about the board and your fellow neighbors protecting a shared investment, which is your community. This isn't about power or punishment. So help the boards relay that message in that way, and
I agree.
be kind.
Absolutely. I mean, we strive to let homeowners know what's going on, but you're right. It's a delivery of how you say a message is almost more important or as important as what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
So it's heard.
Because it's defensive.
Right.
Immediately.
Immediate.
Yeah. And I mean, I have to say, if you said something to me about my home, I'd be immediately defensive, right?
Well, I mean, there's nothing more than putting somebody on the defense when you have to talk about another sore subject, right? What's the worst thing you have to talk to homeowners about?
Collections.
The money.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah. And that's tough because everybody has a situation. Why are they not paying?
I know, but everybody has to understand they are responsible for paying their dues, right? And whether they get an invoice, they'll give you all of these reasons why they're not.
I didn't get an invoice. Yeah.
That's just a reminder. But that shouldn't trigger,
No.
right? Them to send their payment.
Hello, homeowners. Your dues are due on the same day every year, have been since the first day.
And it never changes.
No, never.
Nope, never. Ever.
So put it in your own calendar.
Yeah.
You do not need to wait for an invoice from me. You know when your dues are due.
And think about it. The dues fund everything you see, from maintenance, utilities, amenities, that luscious lawn, that pool that calls to you on a 95-degree Saturday, right?
Yeah. And that's why the board has to do collections.
Right.
That is their only source of money. And they can't let all your neighbors pay for maintaining the pool and you don't. Like, they literally are legally obligated to come to you and try to get the money.
Yeah. There's no magic pot, right, at the end of a rainbow. So if you're late, don't get mad. I mean, it's literally if it's a one-time thing, let us know what's going on, right? We have the ability to,
remove a late fee.
Yeah.
If I look at your account and you've always paid on time and this one time you didn't, I'm going to take your late fee
ask
off.
for grace.
Sorry.
Now, if it's habitual, then we're talking another story, right? Then we have to maybe think about, what about auto draft? You don't even have to remember it's due.
And also I'd say, hey, managers and board members, listen to the story. Try to give as much grace as you can within reason. You do have a responsibility, but offer a payment plan. Use the late fees as leverage. They're not punishment. If you can incentivize them to pay by removing the late fees, let's do it. Everybody has a hard time, right? Everybody has a cash flow problem at times. We have to try to work with people. And on the other hand, there's nothing I hate more than when I know in my system, I can see you got an invoice, you got a late fee notice twice, you got an email from us that said, hey, you've given you 2 late notices, and their next thing I'm going to have to send you is an intent to lien letter. But if I had $1 for every time a homeowner came to me and said, the first thing they got from me was that intent to lien letter, I would not have to do this anymore.
You're so right. That is so frustrating.
Cut it out. Reach out ahead. We don't believe you. When you say that, we don't believe you. I'm sorry.
And it blows my mind because here's the thing. You can be late on your electric bill. What happens? Worst case, they shut your power off, right?
Yeah. And a long time later.
Yeah. Your phone bill, same thing, right? Worst case, they might shut your phone. You put it back on. Go through any utility you want. Your dues.
Yeah. Take your house.
It's huge, right?
Right.
It's most people's largest investment.
And they treat it like it's their least important
That's
bill.
exactly right. It always falls last.
Mm-hmm. There are bad boards. They're ones that that's what you see in the news all the time, is that they try to foreclose on $200. I I don't agree with that either. And we don't do that, right? We have definitely have protocols in place that you have to be very, very late. And we've had to reach out to you many, many times in many, many ways before we'll get there. But don't ignore the problem. You're having an issue. It's your issue. It's not for the HOA to fix for you. Reach out, try to get on a payment plan. Most boards and most management companies, like if you could just pay $20 extra,
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
Just you have to show you're making an effort. Don't ignore it till you get the lien letter and then act just incensed that you can't believe you're getting this. You've never seen anything before.
They're insulted at that point.
Yes. And as a reminder, your dues are due the same time every year on the same day and have been since the beginning of time.
It never changes. Never. So on that same note, though, right? It just infuriates me at times because those might be some of the same people who are calling me and they actually are upset because something isn't done. Maintenance isn't done.
Yes.
And talking about maintenance. So I also find it so enlightening at times that homeowners forget, or maybe they don't comprehend it, but they call us like we are landlords for an apartment building, right?
Yes.
I've had homeowners call me and a condo owner say, my sink is backed up. Can you send your handyman over? Can you send like there's a man sitting at Main Street, right? Like who was that? Like the washer dryer guy. He's just sitting there waiting for the hot button, the bat phone to ring so he can go unclog that sink.
I had about 2 weeks ago, one of your communities call me, and this particular community, the way their dues are set up, that the expenses go back to each building. So if you call from a building and you want something done, that work order gets applied back to the building. And that also in that community that they just had a dues increase and everybody is so upset about it. And she called because she wanted me to have someone come and pick the soccer ball up out of the common area and a board that was up against the building and take it to the trash. And I was like, so you would like for me to enter a work order to pay somebody to drive all the way to your community to pick up a soccer ball and a board and walk it across the parking lot to the dumpster?
Kelly, I've had homeowners call me and tell me that the light bulb outside of their unit, their condo, that they can literally reach. And when I tell them, okay, so are you requesting for me to open a work order for this? And they'll say to me, well, I pay my dues. It's an entitlement. They're not going to pay for that bulb. They feel like, but what they don't understand is that bulb is costing them in the end.
Well, the man that we have to pay to drive all the way there to change the light bulb, that's why your dues have to go up, because you're demanding a certain level of service that is just above and beyond. Like, this is not an apartment complex, right? You are not customers.
No, and
you
the
have to
HOA
pitch
has
in.
one source of money, right? Dues. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no backup account, right?
No.
There's no piggy bank sitting there waiting for a rainy day.
I have another story too from last week. I had a homeowner call. They're kind of new to the community. They live in a condo. And they called and said that the boards on their back deck were so rotten that if they stepped outside, they might fall through.
Oh my gosh.
It was terrible. And he can look around and he can see that other people have Trex and he needs someone to come out here right now. So he called, and within 24 hours, because he didn't get an emergency response and a new deck, he had Google reviewed us, Yelp reviewed us, 1-star review. This is a travesty, a safety issue. We weren't responding quick enough. He needed this deck replaced. So I call him when I get to see the Google review, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry we haven't had a chance to get back to you today. But your documents very specifically say those deck boards are your responsibility. And if other people have Trex, it's because they replaced it themselves. And he was very kind, but he ended the conversation with, you know what? I had my neighbor come over and he said they look pretty good. So if I'm going to replace them, I'll send in my ARC request.
Now they look pretty good.
Now they look pretty good because he has to pay for them.
He was ready to fall through them though when the HOA was paying for it.
Exactly.
Now they look pretty good.
Yeah.
I think homeowners also, we've touched on this, but they really struggle with knowing what they should maintain and what they shouldn't, right? But again, ChatGPT it.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Throw it in there.
It's not a mystery.
No.
And ask your management company. Like, ask. That's what I mean, if I could say one thing today, it'd be like, you do not have to come in here hot.
Right.
We want to help you. It's when we imagine ourselves doing this job, we're sitting behind the desk, we're helping everybody, we're taking all the calls, we're handing out information, we're fixing all the problems.
Everyone's smiling.
Yes.
It's great.
Just call and ask. That's the job I want to do, right? Not you're screaming at me and I have to talk you down off the ledge and I'm trying to talk and you're yelling over me and I'm saying, hey, if you can't stop talking that way, I'm going to have to hang up. I hate those calls.
I do. But at the end of the day, I think homeowners still, they need to know that your boards, they care about maintenance, right? But they have to prioritize repairs. I mean,
There's
you
a
can't
budget.
yes everything. Exactly, right?
And it might be important to you, but it might not be in the list of priorities for the community.
That's exactly right. That's right. What's urgent for, Mrs. Jones may not be urgent as a community, right, decision for the board.
Right. No, I agree. I think that's hard for them to understand because you're right. I paid my dues, so you should come right out here and fix the thing I think is important. Even though, like I was saying earlier, there are a lot of big things that every community has a reserve schedule or should that says the roofs, the paving, the siding, the paint. Like there's so many huge expenses coming down the way that you have to be mindful of and budget for. You cannot do every little thing just because it's cosmetically not okay.
Right.
And also boards budget appropriately. You know what I mean? You should be able to do regular maintenance. If you are putting a budget out there where you have to say no most of the year just to meet that reserve number, then you're not budgeting appropriately. Dues have to go up, right?
Right. And that's exactly right. I think for a community and owners to feel like they're paying their dues, they're getting what they need as a community, they have to understand, though, what the budget is, what the priority is. So going to that annual meeting, that helps. That helps bridge a huge gap.
That's the one time where, one, you get to vote on the budget, but two, you can ask your questions, you can break it down. And board meetings are supposed to be open. They do have to have executive sessions sometimes if you're talking about delinquencies or a legal issue, but you can ask and be allowed to observe, maybe not participate, but observe all the board meetings. So if you really want to know, go. You can't be upset if you don't participate in the process. If you don't come to the annual meeting and elect a board member, then you can't complain with the decisions they're making. If you don't have input and vote on the budget, you can't be upset about how money is being spent, right? So
what would you say? We've sat here and talked. What do you think the key takeaways would be from today's chat?
Homeowners are members. They are not customers.
Yeah, there's no us and them, right?
There's only you all. It's a cooperative. And everyone is equal. You just, as a group of people, cannot make 100, 150, 300 homes in an HOA can't all comment on and have input on the day-to-day decisions.
No, but they do have responsibilities, right? That they can do. They can pay their dues. They can follow the rules. What's the saying? You'll attract more bees with honey than vinegar,
yes,
right?
Ask. Be a part of it.
Yes.
Be
And ask for guidance. We're here to help, right? We're not here to punish. We're here to help. We want to be a part of the solution. So call us. Ask us what's going on before assuming the worst.
Yeah, that's what I say. Call and ask before you just come in and start yelling. Because I think that would be a key takeaway for me.
For homeowners, absolutely. All right, so what about for board members?
Your job is property values, period. So what are you doing to improve property values? Are you saving money? so that you can make the repairs that you need to make in the future? Are you listening to what the homeowners want? What's important to them? Are you having empathy for the people having a hard time? Are you, rising tides lift all boats? Are you helping to lift them up, or are you just stomping them because they're down?
Are you being prepared at meetings?
Yes.
Coming with ready to make decisions or have discussions about the decisions, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, coming from a place of yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big
Try to make the documents fit everyone. Don't try to shove everyone into one document because they're not all going to fit.
No.
Everyone's so very different in how they live in their home, right?
Yeah, and they all come from a different place, like you said. I mean, it's just a way of trying to find common ground reasonably within the documents, right? And of course, minding the budget. That's probably the most important
Yeah.
thing.
How many times have you sat with them, done a budget, and then in February they're like, let's do this, let's do that. We're like, whoa.
We didn't plan for that.
That's
What are
in
we
the
talking
budget.
about?
You want me to put it in the budget next year? And they're like, oh, no. Yeah, stay on budget.
Yeah.
And
so, okay, so we've talked about the homeowners, we've talked about the board members. What about us as managers? What are the takeaways?
always remember you're talking to people about their home, for one thing, and respond in a timely manner.
That's a huge one.
Right?
Yes.
Every interview I go to, it's just like there's never any follow through. They never respond. I can't get anybody on the phone. Like, be accessible.
Owners want to be heard. Don't you find like that? They want to just be able to be accessible, get their problem out or their question.
Yeah. I have a sign in my office that says everyone needs a good listening to. And that's true. Sometimes I just let them talk and talk and talk. And sometimes by the time they're done talking, they've sort of resolved it for themselves.
100%. That is so true. They've talked themselves right into what they needed to hear, what they needed to do. And we've just been a listener. And at that point, and maybe nudge them towards a few things, but they've come to the decision themselves. And that's, we try to do that with the board too, right? A good manager, we should guide the board as much as we can.
I agree. I have a different management company where I live, not Main Street. And I would say that's my biggest disappointment with that manager is that they do not guide the board. Like, they don't see themselves as the wrangler, right? They just throw stuff out and they don't pay attention if the board ever comes back with it.
It's like leaving a fish out, flopping, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, the fish wanted to come back.
If it
the fish will
dies,
come. Yeah, it's okay.
well, you didn't respond to me. So, like, you have to understand that you are a part of this. You're the one actually with all the experience. You're the one that knows what's important. You are the one that realizes there's a budget and it has to be followed. You are the one that hears everything, right? So the other side of being the one that hears everything is that you really have a good finger on the pulse of the community. You need to be telling the boards, hey, what you're doing is really upsetting to the board. I had a board president conversation the other day. I'm like, if you keep doing this particular nitpicky violation that you just keep going after and going after and going after, you're going to isolate the community from the board, and you'll never get compliance for anything you want to do. You're never going to get a dues increase voted on. You're never going to have harmony in here because you're just picking and you're making everyone upset.
Listening. That's the key. And likewise,
the manager needs to say those things.
And the manager, if there's something where you've seen a lot of emails, you're taking calls on something and you see that the board it's not really their priority at the moment, but this is right now a big deal. Like
roof leaks, let's say. Yeah. You manage condos and work order after work order after work order, the boots on the roof are leaking. The board has no idea unless they went through every invoice for every work order.
Exactly right.
You, as the manager, are the one getting all the information. You need to turn to the board and say, hey, can I send a vendor out and let's get all the boots fixed? This is a systemic problem. You know what I mean? You have to do your job. And I think so many, because after COVID, management companies became work from home, the managers are operating on an island out there, and the owners of the companies realize that they can't know what everybody's doing. So they put rules in place that are more like CYA, right? Don't do this. Don't give advice. You just do what you're told.
Right.
This is only what you do. Don't tell them your experience. Don't give them advice. You'll get in trouble for that. Instead of that's what we're supposed to be. We're the manager.
We should be seeing the forest through the trees, right? Instead of just focusing on whatever tree the board throws in front of you at that time.
Right.
See the big picture and don't be afraid to
say it.
Say it, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I hope we've given some good tips and tricks and tried to say, hey, homeowners, this is your part. Hey, boards, this is your part.
I hope so.
And managers, this is your part.
It's so important for a community to thrive, right? And maintain those values of what probably is going to be a person's, if not the one of the biggest investments of their life, right? So we're just trying to protect that for them and help the board do that. And that's all the HOA is doing, is maintaining their investment.
So I think that was a good conversation, and hopefully people will get something out of it. Managers, board members, homeowners. I appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you, Kelly. It was great to be here.
All right. That was Jennifer Cordell. So if you're in the process of hiring a management company, how can you be sure you're getting one that'll partner with you to navigate all of these responsibilities? Because when people are frustrated, the first thing they want is to be heard. So make sure you ask your next management company if they use a call center or if they actually answer their phones. Are they local? How is the manager to property ratio? Make sure they're not overloaded. How often does the manager, not the compliance driver, visit the property? How far away are they located? How do they communicate with homeowners? Are they hands-on? Will they show up on property if a vendor needs them? To learn more about Main Street Management Group, visit us at mainstreetmanagers.com. We'd love to hear your stories, and go to the Contact Us to let us know what you want to hear about or if you have any questions or comments. And don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And follow us on socials. If there's one thing to remember, your HOA works best when people stay informed, stay involved, and remember there are real humans on every side of the conversation. So thanks for joining us. For Main Street Management Group, this is Kelly Hawkins, and we'll see you next time.